Hey guys, it's Rachel from The Little Ring Lamb, and as you know from this title, I have a book review on Beautiful Day by Elin Hilderbrand, or Elin Hilderbrand. I don't know how to pronounce her first name. Yeah, so I'm going to get started, but before I do, this is a no spoilers review. I wouldn't spoil a book, I was going to recommend it. And if you haven't watched my videos or you just need a refresher, I rate my books in 5 different categories: plot, characters, cover, suspense, and overall in terms of reading again, very soon 5 out of 5, not so soon 1 out of 5. And I've scored it all on my agenda, so I'll let you know what I put for each one. Before I get into it, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what this book is about. This is an adult book, so if you're not, it's not mildly inappropriate, but it's there are told in adult perspectives, so there's going to be a little bit of scandalous stuff, but there's no gross graphic stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. Just if you're not a mature reader, you don't feel like you're mature enough to read this, then I wouldn't recommend it. I started reading these books when I was 14, but I'd like to think, with reading, I can read fairly mature books and not be freaked out, but it is told in adult's perspective, so they're not going to be, as, teen YA-ish, yeah, with their narrative. So basically this story is all comes together because Jenna, who is the baby of the family, she's getting married to a boy named Stuart, and they've come back to Nantucket, where all Elin Hilderbrand's novels take place, and she's getting married there, and her mother, Beth, who died 7 years prior, left her a notebook on instructions or just suggestions on how she can have a good wedding and what Beth would do, because Beth wasn't going to be there because she died of ovarian cancer. So basically all the characters, the bridesmaids, the brothers, the sisters, everything's going crazy. We have secrets being revealed, all that. This story, it's interesting because you'd think the main narrative would be out of Jenna's perspective, but the main narrative's out of her older sister, Margot. It's Margot. I don't know if that's Margot, Margaret. Don't know. I'm going to call her Margot. Or Margot. I'm just going to say Margot. Okay. So it's basically told from her perspective. There's 4 kids in the family, so it's Margot, Kevin, Nick, and Jenna. So she tells the perspective, so you hear more about Jenna's story from her. Then we have the perspective of Jenna's dad, Doug, and there's 3 perspectives, and then we have the last perspective is Anne, and she's the mom of Stuart, who's Jenna's husband-to-be. So I found that really interesting to the main character. You'd think Jenna would be the main character because the synopsis on the back even starts off with that, but yeah, I found that pretty cool. So let's get into it. Plot, I gave wrong side. Plot, I gave a 5 out of 5. I absolutely love the plot. I was glued to this book. My family and me, we took a drive and we went to a destination that's an hour away and an hour back, and I was glued to this book, and usually I can't concentrate on car rides because people are talking around me, but I was glued to this book. I read it in 2 days, and that's pretty phenomenal for me, but I just haven't got this review up. That's why it's a few days later. But yeah, the plot was excellent. I loved everything that happened in the plot. I found it really good, really realistic for some parts, and yeah, I just love Elin Hilderbrand's writing. It's actually she weaves the past and the present together so beautifully. I absolutely just adore it. No words to describe it. Characters, 5 out of 5. I love all her characters. They all have their quirks, and they all are actually kind of they're normal people you hear about. They don't have extraordinary talents. They're just normal people gathered for a wedding. They support, again, sibling spats, friendship spats. Life's not all dreams and puppies and rainbows, and yeah. Characters I find are really real and down to earth. Cover, I give a 5 out of 5. This cover is quite different from Elin Hilderbrand's usual novels. Usually they have a different texture, but I really like this cover. At first when I saw it online, I was not very sure of it, but once again when I saw it in person, I just loved it. And I love the back, how it's this nice corally orange color. And yeah, I really like this color, and the spine's really pretty too. And it still looks fine with the other books. It just has a different finish on the cover. Suspense, I give a 5 out of 5 as well. You can see a trend in this. The suspense is good. Obviously, if I was glued to it, it's a pretty big book that I think is suspenseful enough that I want to keep reading to find out, will Jenna marry Stuart? Will everything be happy in the end? Overall, I gave it a 5 out of 5. So this book got a perfect 5 in all categories. I definitely read this again. I love her books to death. I don't know what it is that just gravitates. This is just the perfect summer read, and I definitely recommend anybody who's mature enough to read this. Obviously, if you're a younger viewer and you don't think either you aren't interested or you can't read it because it's an adult book, in a few years you should definitely read it because they're really good books. Obviously, again, they are told from an adult perspective, so you have some of like inappropriate stuff describing other people, but it's not that bad. It's not gruesome or like gross. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys later.